Welcome to the Munello Show. We are from Munello. We are a software development and digital marketing company. Today's episode 18, is all about our favorite social media platform, TikTok.
I thought we were talking about X.
Oh, were we?
Oh, that's for another episode.
Yeah.
You said my favorite.
Yeah.
No. My disdain for X is known far and wide on this podcast, I think.
Is it?
Yeah, I think like every other episode I'm fighting the muskrat for something.
I was going to say it's been, I think, like one episode since you've said something about
Yeah, you're probably right. And usually, nowadays, it's in response to somebody saying something about.
I'm just egging you on.
What letter are they using now? Is it B? Z?
Might be Z.
C? Oh.
I don't know.
Oh, it's X. Got it. Okay, got it. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm on the right page now.
But they're still found at twitter.com.
Yep. Tweet.
Wonder if that'll change. So we're going to get into just
We're not talking about Twitter today.
We're going to get into just how big TikTok is, right? Because of everything that's been happening in the news. You probably heard a lot of stats about what's going on. So we're here to provide more stats, provide some clarity. We're going to talk about the impact of TikTok, right, in general to, people's personal lives, people's professional businesses. Obviously, we're going to talk about, we can't get through this episode without talking about the potential sale, right, or divest of the algorithm or the data or even the ban of TikTok, right? And then we'll talk about the shift in social media that's been happening and that potentially could happen if things do happen. And by the way, if you stick around until the end, we've got a resource for you that you're going to love.
If I stick around to the end, do I get it?
Oh, you might get it a day or two early because you might be part of creating it. I'm not sure.
Forgot. That's how that works.
Making it available to our wonderful large audience.
Yeah, I push the button that says publish.
So Monica, just how big is TikTok?
Did you guys know that on TikTok there's 1.92 billion users as of 2023?
That's a lot.
That's a significant portion of the world.
Actually, that's a 16% increase since the previous year.
Yeah,
And
so they're growing pretty well.
Yep.
If TikTok stays, and by the end of 2024, they're estimating around 2 billion.
2 billion, wow.
And the population of the world is 8-9 billion. Am I just pulling that number out of my butt?
Or your hat.
Or my hat. Sorry. Edit that out, I guess. I don't know. That's the closest thing you're going to get to me swearing. So
as it comes to how big it is, right, in reference, in the United States, that's, they'd say the stat is 170 million United States citizens are on TikTok, which is potentially one of every 2 United States citizens on TikTok. So what's that say about us? 1.5 of us is on TikTok sitting right here. So who's the halvesy here?
I currently am not on TikTok.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean I have the account and everything, and I used to be, but I
Yep.
became too obsessive with it. So I would stay up until 2 a.m. watching TikToks, not realizing it was 2 a.m. And
Are you one of those people
when I get a
that
problem.
doesn't watch TikTok but is on Instagram Reels instead?
shut up.
So TikTok is the number 1 downloaded app in more than 40 countries.
That's insane.
TikTok is also number 5 on the Apple App Store.
What is it on the Play Store?
Do we know that?
We didn't have that stat, do we?
What's a Play Store? Apple Superior.
Apple's superior. Uh-oh. This is about TikTok. Keep it on TikTok.
Next episode on the Munello Show.
No,
brawl
but
between me and Monica.
TikTok is definitely outgrowing other platforms like Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat, which were huge when they first came out. I mean, they still are. I mean, Meta, we've talked about before, is absolutely huge.
Yeah.
But
Snapchat kind of came in with the whole video thing, and then slowly TikTok came, and that became the big thing. And YouTube and Instagram have released their versions and have tried to keep up, but it hasn't really caught on as much as TikTok, I think.
well, I don't know if you remember, but it was called Vine.
Yeah, do it for the Vine.
Yep, Vine was big before TikTok, and that got shut down to its own lawsuit. So then TikTok took over. So hypothetically, does that mean that if TikTok is gone, will something, just another app someone else creates, blows up?
Well, that
Because people say they want an app like this. This has been shown.
Yeah.
clearly.
Are we creating it?
I mean, don't give away too much here.
We're currently looking for investors. No, that's. I mean, TikTok is obviously huge, and there would be a large gap, even though Instagram and YouTube already have their implementations of it. I don't think that. I don't know. We can talk about that later, but yeah, there are certain ramifications that we'll have to think about.
Well, 90% of TikTok's users report actually that the platform makes them happy.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, that's why I go on it. It makes me happy. It's always ever changing. Your feed is just constantly learning more about you and changing.
Yeah, they do a good job with that. I feel probably a little bit better than some of the other algorithms. Like YouTube Shorts isn't as good. Instagram's probably in the middle for me, and then TikTok was always the best at figuring out like what I wanted to watch, and maybe that's why I quit TikTok. It's because they were too good and they kept me on too well. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
So I was actually talking with some friends this past weekend and talking about your screen time. And there were some girls in my book club that gave up the information that they would spend over 28 hours per week on the app.
28
Wow.
per week.
Wow.
They're doing it while they're working. They're doing it while they're eating.
Yeah.
She has a full-time job
Yeah.
and a husband and a dog and all the things and friends. Like she's a very like social person, but 28 hours
That's
that she spends on the app. a
4
week.
hours a day.
The real reason that I quit TikTok is Matt found out that I was just watching TikToks all day while I said I was working.
You said you were watching software development channels.
Yep, definitely that.
on
That's
TikTok.
exactly what the algorithm was giving me.
Question for you: is TikTok just for young people?
No. You'd be surprised. There's more millennials on it than you think, and a lot of millennials. I know that's.
Oh, you're hurting my soul. You're basically calling me old.
I am also too a millennial. We talked about that.
Barely.
It also might be too, like, you know, because when we're on the apps, or when you were on the apps, right? We didn't see. I mean, yeah, there might be a young person in the video, but primarily the content of the video is something that I'm interested in, right? That's of my, you know, I don't want to say age or my interests, right? So
Yeah.
the whole young dance, like the app has been so filled up with way more content that content's been driven my way of things that I look for, right? Things that I'm interested in, things I spend more time watching, right?
But my mom's on TikTok, you know, so definitely there are at least one old person, sorry, Mom, who is on TikTok, you know.
So, sorry.
We've broken Monica.
Yep.
I'm just.
Is there
Is
a
she
reset
making
button?
videos or just
No, no,
watching
no.
them?
Consuming the.
Okay.
consuming.
Oh, okay.
I don't think she's a TikToker.
No.
Like she's not a
The influencer.
content creator or an influencer.
Okay.
Hey, some people are.
Hey.
That would be cool if she would. I don't know what she would talk about.
So where I was trying to go with that is actually a lot of the millennial generation, they're supporting brands. They're going on there. They're putting in their LTKs, their Amazon storefronts. They're calling out brands specifically. I know definitely from my side of TikTok, a lot of makeup brands and hair product brands and clothing brands blow up on TikTok because they'll do a drop and you have all these people, influencers or not, talking about the brand, talking about the products.
So businesses are pulling in
Oh,
money and customers
so much.
through TikTok.
Absolutely.
Mom, talk about the impact that TikTok has in general.
You know,
which
we
is
try
our-
to do these smooth
which is
segues.
and then I call him
and then
out
Matt's
so
just
starkly.
like, and the next heading is. No, that was good.
Which is great. So you brought up, you said companies will do a drop. So explain what a drop is.
New products, Yeah, mostly new products. I guess that's where I was going with that.
So, like, that's
Sorry if
where
you were
they would
expecting more out of
announce-
that, but my brain.
So is
That's
it
where they
like
would announce the big
what's-
new thing.
what's the name of
create
those?
buzz.
Maybe big brands or maybe smaller brands might just like rent a space in like a city, like a pop-up shop or something. Mm-hmm. Is that the name of it, or is there a different name of it? And maybe that's kind of the same thing they're doing digitally, where they'll like just like rent an office space for like a day in like a downtown area, and then that brand will show up. Set up a
Just
store.
show off their stuff.
Yeah,
and sell
just
their
set up a
stuff and
store real
stuff.
quick, and then
Yeah.
there's like almost no marketing or anything around it, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden
Yeah.
people start showing up, and it gets buzz on social media, and then the crowds show up.
That's interesting. That because those, announcing your product on TikTok might be the digital equivalent of
that.
just showing up
Yeah.
in the middle of New York and being like, "Hey, we've got this
Yeah, interesting.
Sephora new product thing going on."
So, actually,
Actually.
what Sephora does, or what brands that sell their stuff at Sephora do, and what I've noticed is, for example, Milk is a huge makeup company. It's been around for a while. They came out with this really different product, and they sent it to a whole bunch of influencers before they even released it to the store. They just sent it out. And so all the influencers came on and go, Milk sent me this. This is a new product that they're going to drop soon. I'm going to test it out for you guys live. They're not paying me to say this. They just sent the product to me. I'm going to test it for you guys live. And that's what so many people did. And everyone was like, whoa, that's so cool. I want to try it. It has been sold out. That one product, it became to the public months ago, and it's still not restocked on the shelves because it cannot. The second it hits the shelf, it's gone.
Yeah,
Gone. Right.
Without TikTok,
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy.
the
So
product probably would have done well.
So before
Yeah.
TikTok on Instagram or the other video YouTube Shorts, did
the other video,
the other
you mean
video,
the biggest one.
the biggest one. Well, YouTube Shorts, right?
Yeah, I know.
Did you notice drops happening on those platforms, and were they as effective as they are today on TikTok?
In my opinion, I don't think so. I mean, look at how many people were on YouTube and what you were going to YouTube for. People weren't going to YouTube to see
Product drops.
product drops. They were
Yeah.
looking up how-to videos.
Yeah, how to do something. Yeah, right.
Which is actually funny because that's another really common thing that's used for TikTok is people have kind of stepped aside from searching how-tos on YouTube and actually search them on TikTok more.
Interesting. I wonder if the YouTube algorithm for long form videos is tied into the algorithm for short form videos, such that you get served up short form videos based on your long form preferences, right? So in that case, you probably wouldn't get too many product-y things if all you look up is like coding stuff and photography stuff, for example. Besides maybe those products, but like Sephora's never going to touch me on YouTube if that algorithm is shared. Whereas TikTok, they
I would think it is.
specifically try to introduce small things that you're not interested in just to see if you're interested in it,
Yeah,
to
right.
tie you into that like map part
Yeah.
of
Yep.
TikTok. So
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, when I'm on TikTok, I definitely will come across a video that's, wow, this is a product that I am not interested in whatsoever, but it's not like I'm just going to uninstall the app. I'm just going to keep moving.
yeah, and that tells TikTok
Yeah.
that you're
Yeah.
not interested in it.
Yeah, quickly. Which is, if we get into a little bit of like how we use the platform, or like, more specifically like what I use it for, it's my news outlet in the morning.
Oh,
Right, I'm not sitting down on the couch turning on the TV and just like waiting to get through boring commercials to get to the headlines of the day. I'm on TikTok, right? And what's new? I mean, 6 o'clock in the morning, there's already important things that are happening in the world that are near me or in my state or my country.
well, that's the thing is the news outlets don't have to run to get there to produce it, to edit it, to make it live, talk to the producers, how are we going to do this? You just have the person that's actually there witnessing and go, here's what's happening.
Yeah, and even better than that maybe is there are, I call it citizens, but they're not really citizens. Well, they are citizens, but they're not like, I'm getting weird with it, but they're not like,
people?
not part of news networks, right? That are reporting on these types of things. So you get a perspective from somebody that's like an actual person, real opinion, that's not just like spouting a corporate headline or something like that. Or conversely, not just saying like the dry details of
Oh, yeah.
of the fact and giving more nuance and stuff like that.
And-
I think that's one of the bigger parts of TikTok, and the other platforms too. But like, you can get views and expressions and thoughts from people that maybe the news carriers aren't really carrying. I mean, without getting too political, there are things happening in the world right now where you're getting one story from the news outlets, and then you're getting a completely different story from people who actually live there and experience it and are putting those experiences on TikTok.
Right.
I was just about to say, I'm like, true authentic.
And I'm not naive enough to think that TikTok isn't influencing how those things are being presented to people. But like the other two apps have very like known and specifically said that they are trying to take that content and push it down. Like Facebook is infamous for that. Instagram just like shadow limited people's political content on their app. So it's like they have knowingly pushed that content down and away from people. And then obviously TikTok might be doing their own thing, but at least publicly they're not saying that they're pushing those really important pieces down. So there's a big freedom of speech component to it. I'm sorry if that's exactly what you're going to say.
No. I was gonna bring up. I mean, my wife and I were winding down from a busy evening with the kids, right? And we didn't have the TV on yet, and this is probably 5, 6, 7 months ago. And I just happened to be, I think I was on Facebook, and then I was also on TikTok, and all of a sudden I'm scrolling through and I'm seeing people experiencing what looked to be a tornado, and I looked at the location. I noticed that it was in Michigan, in our state. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, where are these people located? And all of a sudden I heard in a video that it was like, 3, 4, 5 towns west of me. And I'm thinking to myself, well, shoot, we get the weather that comes from the west of us. We might have a problem here. And I'm looking, and people are authentically on their porch or looking out their door wall with their video showing all these high winds. And I'm like, wow. So I turn on the TV, and sure enough, weather bulletin, right? Channel 4, whatever, like, tornado on the way, and here's its. And if I wasn't on TikTok or seeing anything on Facebook, right? Who knows if I would have caught it in time?
Yeah.
Right. Thankfully, it wasn't. It certainly was a tornado in that area, but then it, diluted and didn't really become anything in our area. But
so, not to take this completely off the rails, but I don't know about you guys, but none of my households have cable anymore. We got rid of cable a long time ago.
Same.
So there's no popping on Channel 7 or Channel 4 for the latest weather update. It's like you have to like go in through a few different apps to get like the live feed.
Or there's no that little pop-up that appears when you're watching your TV show that says there's a tornado warning or something.
Unless you have
young folks might not know what this is. Well,
if you have YouTube TV or you have Hulu Live, like you have some type of streaming service that has live TV, you get that stuff. You can get to Channel 2 and 4 and see those weather bulletin things, or like the thing across the top that there's a severe weather advisory.
Live TV.
It's live. Hey, I question if live TV is even live these days.
Oh gosh, no.
I question on whether or not because we have YouTube TV and we'll rifle through channels, and it's like, why is it when I'm watching something and commercial set comes on and I lose interest in that show, and then I go to another channel, I'm like, oh yeah, let's watch this. We get 7 seconds of that, and then we're dropped into a commercial bank. It's like, oh, did it know that I left the other channel right before the commercials? And it's like, we need to get this user to see some commercials, so we're going to feed them commercials wherever they go, wherever next channel they go.
Yes, I really think that's the case.
How can I verify that this is actually live TV that I'm watching?
Yeah, this is a little diversion from that, but I watch a lot of Twitch streamers, and it's the same. I don't pay for the premium, so I get the ads, and it's the same exact thing, right? So like I get in there, I'm watching for 20 seconds, and then suddenly I have 2 minutes worth of ads. I'm like, screw this, I don't want to do that. So I go to another Twitch streamer, and then 5 seconds after that, I get served with 2 ads.
Right.
So it's like they know that I'm trying to
move on,
subvert the ads, and I don't have an ad blocker. I probably should have an ad blocker.
See, Hulu doesn't care. It just gives you tons of ads, matter what.
But Hulu has live sports.
I'm not on that. I'm just saying, like, I have like regular Hulu, and I'll turn on my show, and I'll watch the ads, and then I'll be like, oh, I'm not in this spot. I have to rewind or something. And it goes, oh, here's some more ads. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I just watched you.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
Like you cross some threshold in the episode that is like, oh, ad.
I'm like, come on.
And worst part is we're paying for these, not the Twitch, but
Yeah.
Hulu. You pay for Hulu, you still get ads.
Oh,
Amazon Prime, you pay for Amazon Prime, you still
yeah.
get ads.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it depends on what you're watching. The content of what you're watching could be ad free.
Fair.
So
Not the shows that I watch, unfortunately.
back to TikTok. TikTok does do ads.
Yeah.
A lot of them. They have a lot. A lot of companies directly pay for them, but then they've also gotten smart and then they just sponsor influencers and then sneak it in really,
Yeah.
really well. And I know we've talked about it before in a past episode of how sneaky these ads can get.
You don't know it's an ad
Yeah.
until like 10 minutes in.
But is that sneaky or is that genius?
I mean,
combination of the two?
Oh,
Those are not mutually exclusive terms.
No.
So yeah, it's probably sneaky and genius at the same time.
oh yeah.
But the worst part is that little sponsored text
Oh,
is minuscule. Like you can barely,
It's tiny,
barely
yeah.
see that it's there.
Yep.
So like you don't even notice that it says sponsored until you realize that the content is a sponsored ad. But anyway,
so
we're kind of getting
my favorite is the
away from
TikTok
this.
creators that will specifically call out this video is not sponsored, as it has a sponsored hashtag
Right.
at the bottom, and you're like,
Oops.
so close.
Oops. Wrong video.
almost
so
got
close.
it.
Yeah.
Almost got it.
Almost got it.
So anyway, we should probably talk about like the specifics of the potential ban.
Yeah, I
that-
mean,
Or
that
the
are
sell.
happening.
I don't want it. That's 90% of my
Right.
happiness.
So the whole
90%.
big thing.
It makes me happy.
It makes me happy. Don't take it away. So
No,
the whole big thing is obviously like a Chinese company owns a significant portion of TikToks, and the United States government doesn't like that because there's we've had trouble with China being found out to be using equipment that has been sold in the United States. Like you don't see the Huawei brand of phones or routers or anything anymore because they were putting in stuff into their equipment that was spying on, gathering data or whatever you want to call it, on U.S. subjects, citizens. So that's why they kind of want to get away from it, not thinking about conspiracy theories like how Meta and other brands are probably paying and lobbying for this stuff to happen.
Yep. And Google.
And Google, right. So anyway, this is kind of been thought of and gone through the government. It's passed the House, so there's a House resolution that's passed that says TikTok should be banned. It's going to go to the Senate next, which should be happening anytime now. And if that passes, then it's going to go to the president's desk, and he has already stated that he will sign that if it hits his desk. So.
But from a lot of what I hear, and I know it's what you hear might not be the actual truth, is that the government is trying to push the sale of it.
Yeah. They would rather have the Chinese company divest than TikTok get banned, but they are ready and willing to ban if that doesn't happen. I don't know enough about the company or the politics of China or anything like that to know whether that's a possibility.
Yeah.
So if it is, then maybe it'll happen and we still keep TikTok. But if it's not, then they're going to go through it. They're probably going to ban it.
And I'm still a little unclear, even though how much we know about TikTok. I'm still a little bit unclear on exactly where Singapore fits in, exactly where China fits in.
Yeah.
Right. Like.
So my understanding is the business itself, like the headquarters, is in Singapore. It's a Singaporean company, but all sorts of companies can partially own other companies regardless of where they live in the world.
Right.
So there's a Chinese company, ByteDance or something like that owns a significant portion of TikTok. Enough so that they have a say in the business operations of TikTok. That's enough for many politicians, to believe that there's a clear link between the Chinese government to ByteDance to TikTok. Even though TikTok isn't a Chinese company, there's enough owned by a Chinese company that is influenced by the Chinese government that could then use that influence to influence TikTok and use our data or whatever, even though our data, like the United States TikTok data is here in the United States, overseen by United States citizens.
What's funny is I see a lot of creators go, what? I don't care if the Chinese government knows that my cat likes this kind of food.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Yeah.
It's just funny to see these videos.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I get the whole concern and the privacy and everything else and them having the power, but it's funny to see the videos and how Americans are viewing it. And they're like, no, don't take away this. I don't care. They're like voicing that they don't care. And it's just really funny to see the opposite side of it. And they're
Yeah.
like, well, what are they going to do that this is my favorite makeup brand and I try on funny costumes and show you how I do my makeup in my recipe book? Like, what are they going to do with that information?
yeah. Well, I mean, it's not just the information that they get from us, it's the information that they can give to us, right?
Oh,
So, like,
yeah.
Absolutely.
politically, if China, if that whole link happens and China does have influence over TikTok and can then filter and influence
Yeah.
what videos we get, they could theoretically, just like Russia had been accused of and had done with Facebook, they could theoretically influence
Sway.
our opinions, our elections, who we vote for, the information we get about what candidates, that sort of thing. So, I mean, there's
Sure.
if you follow that long spaghetti trail, and if
I like
that
spaghetti.
me too. If that spaghetti trail is true and they are able to do that, then it is a legitimate concern.
fair enough. So, two things. One is, did you actually know? Okay, so fast forward a little bit. Do you-
Forward past the two things, so we're on number 3 right
yeah,
now?
number 3.
Okay.
We've gone
Just
all
call
the way
it
to
3.
number 6.
Okay.
There is no number 6.
Just keep it along. All along. I don't know if you guys remember, if you scroll on TikTok too long, a little person from TikTok comes, oh, stop, you've been scrolling too long.
Yep.
Do you guys remember those videos that would come up?
Swipe up.
Continue.
Yep. That's what I would do. Apparently TikTok still uses that. Doesn't do it much for us because it knows our age. Like when we first got the app, you put in like the year you're born,
Yeah.
as you do for most. It actually does that for the young people. So if like a
Oh.
teenager or a 10-year-old is on the app, it knows and goes, and after 40 minutes of them scrolling, it shows them that, and then it even has established a parental control against a lot of what they can do.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That's kind of neat.
I didn't know that
Yeah,
either. I
parental
was just
controls,
like,
yeah.
what?
Yeah.
I don't know any other social media platform that is trying to regulate the younger.
Yeah, that would try to
Yeah.
stop unhealthy use
Yeah.
of
I
the
thought that
app
was crazy.
for young
Or
kids.
block. Yeah, I know they attempt to block access to censored material
Yeah.
that accidentally finds its way on the platform. But yeah,
But to try and persuade them to not use the platform after a certain period
Yeah.
of time, when it behooves them to have those kids addicted to the platform.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
That's
sure,
actually
sure.
kind of noble. That's kind of cool.
I mean, but then if you think about it as a parent, you're kind of like, oh, wait, I like them even more now.
Yeah.
Yep.
But actually, did you guys know Montana actually banned TikTok in 2023?
Yeah, the state of Montana. Yeah. I remember hearing about that. So what? When you're on TikTok and you're driving across the border, all of a sudden it
I was
becomes
actually
I don't
wondering
know.
that too.
like,
I wonder
it
if
becomes
they
unavailable.
required their internet service providers to block the IP address
Probably.
of TikTok. So like you could, I mean, they couldn't stop TikTok from getting on the Play Store or anything because they're just a state,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
But they could certainly make internet service providers that operate within their state block internet traffic from those sources. So that's a way. Also relevant, semi-relevant to this, Florida just enacted a ban on social media for kids 13 and younger or something like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so they're like going to require, I don't know how exactly it's going to work, but obviously every app asks what your age is, but under 13 you are legally not allowed to have social media accounts in
Oh,
Florida.
that's awesome.
Now, obviously that's going to be subverted. Kids are smarter than the
Yeah.
people who made those laws, so they're
Yeah.
going to find a way. But
Hey, that's when I got my first social media platform, Facebook. I had to make a whole presentation to my parents of why I belonged on Facebook.
Same presentations we made about why we needed a cell phone, right?
yeah, probably.
I tried that too. It
I
didn't
couldn't
work.
join Facebook when it first came out
Yeah.
because I didn't go to the right college.
To be fair, this was, I don't know what year I was in.
We're not going to talk about what year I was when that happened.
So let's talk about the shift
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
social
sorry.
media here. Let's.
All of this is semi-relevant.
Yeah.
But
It
so,
is.
so
It
yeah,
is.
the shift, right? Like, what happens if TikTok does get banned in the United States? I think we've heard, and this is unconfirmed by us, but like,
I'm going to be really sad.
hits the president's desk. 6 months later, TikTok is removed from the Play stores, and we can no longer access TikTok. What does that world look like? What happens?
Basically,
Besides me crying every single day.
well, yeah, I mean, I guess my controversial question is, instead of spending all this time like banning it or trying to sell it, why doesn't someone just create
An alternative? I mean, yes, you could do that. You would also then be fighting YouTube and Instagram, who have their short form content. But I mean, that's definitely a
TikTok came out of
Something
nowhere.
to
I know
happen.
Vine tried, and
well. TikTok
Didn't
came out
make
of
it.
nowhere because there was a void. Like the
Yeah.
shorts didn't exist on
Yeah.
YouTube and Instagram yet, and Vine
Right.
had just basically exploded. And there was
Like
just
a lawsuit.
Snapchat basically doing that stuff, and Snapchat was much different than.
Mhm.
So like there was an opportunity, there was a void and a need for that, but like now there are two big other companies trying to fill that void already with TikTok being here.
In my opinion, not as well, but
Right, but if TikTok's not around, like
yeah,
Yeah.
those.
consolation prize goes to those two companies.
I mean, it would behoove a TikTok, a business that's just specifically on TikTok selling their products. It would behoove them to also exist over on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
YouTube Shorts, have an Amazon store, right? Why not? You're just putting more irons in the fire.
Right.
Yeah, your share, your profit margin is probably not as great as TikTok, but you still have,
Yeah, it would make sense for the business, but for the company creating that new platform, they would have to compete with two very large, heavy-hitting tech platforms.
what's actually funny is hearing a lot of content creators are talking about the band, and it's funny to hear them say, I'm not on YouTube. What I post on Instagram is just pictures. I don't post my content like I do on TikTok. And they're like, if TikTok goes, they're like, I'll try to switch to YouTube for you guys. But if you don't follow me,
Yeah,
I'm out of a job.
they've built a significant platform
Yeah.
a significant community on
yeah.
that platform.
So they're like, if you guys don't follow me here,
And
I'm going to have to
Yeah.
get a regular job. And a lot of them are like, that's fine.
Yeah,
I'm grateful for the years that you guys gave me here. But they're like,
no, I mean,
I'm
it's
not going
just-
to transition and fail.
Yeah, this is teaching creators and businesses and everybody in that type of space two very, very valuable lessons. Number one, don't focus on one platform if
Yeah.
you can.
Yep.
Make sure you're at least trying to build smaller communities on the ones that you don't focus on, because something like this could happen. But number two, as much as you can, try to get your content somewhere where you own it, like your own website. No one can take, unless you stop paying for it, no one can take your own website with your videos put there,
Or an email list.
or an email list. Exactly. So like YouTube, there's going to be a universe somewhere where YouTube shuts down. Like those things are not going to be permanent, but owning your own platform could theoretically be permanent. So
Right.
I can't imagine if Meta or YouTube just went bye-bye.
I mean, at this point, they're probably too big to ever
Yeah.
without some sort of worldwide catastrophe or government interference.
Oh, yeah.
They're going
Server
to be around
meltdown.
forever. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sticking around with us to chat through TikTok. That resource we promised you can find it at moonello.com/resources. And like and subscribe. Please follow us on social media,
Even TikTok.
even TikTok.
We'll be there until the end.
We are there. Or even if it gets sold to another company, we'll continue to be there. We value the platform.
Value what it has.
I'm
Anything
proud
else?
of you guys that I didn't go political.
Oh, we gotta end this.
I'm about to start naming names.
Cut. Anything else? Or are we good?
No, I think we're good.
Thank you.